In lesson 4, we will learn how to create the private and the public key. This is something that you basically only do every time you get a new email address, and then you make a key that belongs to that email address. There are advanced features where you can, use several email addresses with the same key. But to keep it simple in the start, it's good to create a key for the email that you use. I am currently using an email called webmaster@caroni.com, and I'm now going to create a private and a public key to use. So I right click on the OpenPGP, I say generate key pair. Here it will say what the name of the key will be. It will say which email address it will be valid together with. And here you can also add more email addresses with the semicolon if you want. The name of the email address and the key doesn't necessarily have to be identical, but the advantage is that if you have an email address and if the key is called the same, you know that those two belongs together. Plus, there are some advanced PGP tools that automatically will decrypt and encrypt, and they will only do that if they can associate the email with the name of the key. So, therefore, it's a good idea to have a key per email address. So now I'm making the one for webmaster@caroni. You need to have a passphrase, and every time you are going to open an email or send an email, you can be asked about this passphrase. So you write it in. It should be a little bit complex one. When you've done that, you have one more thing to decide, and that's the key length. This has to do with the strength of the encryption, and you can see there are 3 different levels. I'll tend to go for the one in the middle that is 2048 long. The only thing is that if you have some that are using very old Internet Explorers, they might not be able to read as they only accept 1024. However, 2048 is recognized by most of the modern browsers like Firefox, Chrome, and Edge. So let's go for that one. By default, it will overwrite any current private key that you have. In case you have done this several times because you have lost your keys, always overwrite the current one. But at the moment, there are no others, so it wouldn't really matter. So that's all I have to do. I have my email, I have my passphrase, the key length, and I click OK. Now the keys has been saved, and they look something like this. You have here the information about your key. Here it will say the password you have chosen at the top and the email. Then you will have your private key is here, followed by the public key, which is here. It does also say that you should store this in a safe place. We can do that in the next lesson. For now, I will just say OK. So where is this key at the moment? Well, if I go back in again in my OpenPGP and I say manage key, you now will see them here. My private key has been copied in here. That's the key I need to be able to decrypt the mails that comes into me. And then I have here my public key, which is my public key that I normally send to others when they are going to send to me. That's down there. When we are inside the manage key, let's click on scan contacts as well. And the reason being that here you can put in other public keys, but your limit is 30. So if you are using more public keys than 30, you have an option to save them in your contacts in Zimbra, but we will come back to that later. But it's always a good idea to keep that ticked on. So now you have made your first key private and public, and you are actually ready to go to the next lesson.